can't rebuild the same. So we have to rebuild with science. We have to build with climate reality in mind.
Yeah, climate reality in mind. James Gallagher is here. He is the Republican leader in the state assembly in Sacramento in the great state of California. James, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing all right. It's good to be with you.
Yeah, thanks for fighting for California still. So we talked about how California used to be a red state, and we talked about it for presidential elections, but California used to have amazing Republican governors, right? Reagan was a governor. Duke Majan was a great governor. Pete Wilson was an amazing governor. Schwarzenegger's a bit of an outlier, right, and he blew it at the end. But we had red Republican, good, solid governors. How did we lose that? How did the Dems take over California in the first place?
Great legacy here, Reagan. And I think what happened over time is, one, the Democrats made a very aggressive political move, reaching out to Latino voters, for example, that were a very growing demographic in the state. And, we, I think as a party, just really fell behind on aggressive campaigning, going out there, reaching voters, raising money. Schwarzenegger became the governor and he had a lot of celebrity, but he didn't really do a whole lot to really help the cause and bring more people on board. So I think that sort of hurt us. Here recently, though, I think we've gotten back on track. You saw in these recent elections that we, are starting to make really big gains amongst Latino voters, for instance. Trump won Imperial County in California, which is a, huge Latino demographic in the state. And so we want to continue to build on that. And I think we can get back to those days of Reagan.
Yeah, Imperial County right on the border as well. It's wild because it's not like the Democrats have done a great job running the place. How do you characterize how bad Gray Davis, Jerry Brown, and Gavin Newsom have been as Democrat governors?
I mean, just terrible. I mean, if you look, and this is something we've really been pointing out, and that, going to that aggressive strategy of going out there and talking about the failures of the Democrats. I mean, they've had all power, for at least the last 15 years in this state. And what have we gotten? We have the highest homelessness. We have the highest poverty, infrastructure that's falling apart, dams that, fail, wildfires that rage out of control because we're not doing anything to mitigate fuel. And so all these things, I think, are really making it, are exhibit A of the failure of Democratic leadership.
And we were just talking with some guys from Breitbart, and one of them's house almost burned down. All the houses right around him burned down. And we're like, wow, this would be a great opportunity for conservatives, or for it to be clear to people that they've been failed by their Democratic representatives, right? But I don't know. I don't know if maybe they even get it now. What will it take for them to see at the very least that the Democrats have failed them? And then we can work on the Republicans, how we'll do better. But what is rock bottom?
Yeah, was that Joel?
Yeah, Joel, and we talked to Alex as well, Alex Marlowe.
Yeah, and Joel did a great job. I think when we were down in LA and the president came, really highlighting that, just the failures that we've seen of leadership, in LA, but it's Democratic leadership at the local and state level that totally failed us, during these fires, and has been failing us, right? And so, I think we need to really highlight that. I would say the signs that there are some good signs on the horizon. We've registered over 1 million new Republican voters in California since 2019. I think that shows that people are finally saying, look, we've had enough of the Democratic Party and their leadership. We picked up 2 assembly seats in the last election. We picked up 1 more Senate seat in the last election. That's actually the first time in a presidential that we've done that since the 80s. So I think the trends are starting there. The cracks are there in the Democratic, hegemony here. But we got to keep being aggressive. We got to keep calling it out. And then we got to talk about how Republicans would do better, and our own solutions. So when we talk about wildfire, I say, look, we've been talking about this for years. Let's get out there and remove the vegetation that makes these fires a huge conflagration we can't stop. When we talk about homelessness, stop enabling them. Stop giving them needles on the street and letting them just hang out in front of businesses and in our public parks. When we talk about poverty, like let's actually do something that brings people out of poverty. Let's remove the barriers to starting a new business, for instance, right? To getting a license in the state. We have some of the most expensive applications just to get a license, for different professions, right? There's a lot of things we could do to remove the roadblocks and make more opportunity, in the state of California. And I think that's really what people are just crying out for.
Yeah. Tell me about the Trump effect potential in California. So we've been saying all special so far here that make America great again. Like to me, a proof of ultimate MAGA victory is when our cities turn red and California goes red. That's like when people really see like, wow, this is actually way better, this Trump style of Republican governance. What can Trump do from the federal government to help show that this is the way to go for people in California?
Well, I think he's starting to do it. He's just been a freight train, man. It's like one thing after the other where he's attacking these things that I think people are really frustrated with. Bloated government, right? Like bloated big government that's not getting things done, spending our money in crazy ways. So the whole Doge thing, I think, is really highlighting how bad that problem has really been. And I think people have been longing for that for a while. We talk about immigration, like finally getting on top of that issue. And yes, deport criminals. Let's go after criminals who are continuing to victimize our people. No one should disagree with that, right? That is a 80-20 issue. And I think all the recent polling shows that, right? And so what President Trump is doing on that front, securing our border, making sure that we're safe. I think these are all things that are helping to move voters over to us. And I would say we really saw it here in California, more in the inland part of the state. Inland voters who tend to be, at least lower socioeconomic. They're not having a lot of jobs and opportunities, but they feel forgotten, right? And they also are people that really rely on gas-powered cars, for instance, to get to work and get their kids around. Gavin Newsom's answer is to ban all gas-powered vehicles in California. We need those, and we need trucks to move our goods. So inland California, I think, really responded to Trump in a big way. And we saw like big swings from 2020 to the 2024 election, where more and more people were voting for Donald Trump. So I think we need to continue that by showing that we can get real solutions for people. And already I think that is happening. Seeing someone actually address these problems that have been plaguing our country, for decades now, I think is really helping, move those voters to our side.
It's great. We've got about 1 minute. What do people across the country need to know about Gavin Newsom, governor of California? Because he's definitely jockeying to run in 4 more years now. What do we need to know about that
guy? Don't be fooled by the hair gel and the slick talk. Look, this guy is probably the most inept governor of all time. Everything he set out to do, he has not accomplished. He said he was going to solve homelessness. It's gotten worse. Our poverty rate has gone higher. We've gone lower in education. Our kids are not reading at grade level in California schools under Gavin Newsom's leadership. Trust me, you don't want any part of this. You do not want this guy at the helm of anything. Nothing that he set out to do. He said he was going to lower our gas prices by going after the oil companies who are gouging us. We're paying more than anyone except Hawaii for gas. Everything this guy says he's going to do, he fails at. So please, anybody out there in other states, and I don't think many other states are really buying what this guy's selling, but please don't be fooled. Look at the record. This guy has been a terrible governor.
Do you think he's more inept or more corrupt?
Maybe a little bit of both, honestly. There's a lot of mismanagement. The guy likes to make big, bold announcements of things he's going to do and then never follows through. Mismanages thing. We saw that obviously during the fire. He laid off firefighters. He did a veto of a bill that would have kept seasonal firefighters online during these fires. He laid them off just before these fires happened. These are the kinds of, mismanagement that he's done. But also, we've seen, no bid contracts go to people who are his donors. We've seen him do, things for PG&E, for example, who's been a big donor to him, over the years that are not above board. The PUC gives us rate increase after rate increase. That's the Public Utilities Commission that he's put all of his friends on. Our electric rates just keep going up. They never reject a rate increase. These are the kinds of things that I think really just show, the ineptitude, but also the corruption of Gavin Newsom.
Let's win California back. James Gallagher leading the way, California Assembly Republican leader. Keep up the good work, sir.
Thank you. Will do.